back to the first step. It says, the first step, you need to choose a university or a program at the undergraduate or graduate level. So, and you came here today and you see that there is a number of university, their representatives downstairs, but there are hundreds and thousands of other universities that are not here today, but it's possible to apply and to become students over there. So one thing is like to come and see what is offered to you. Another thing is to do your own research, to explore a little bit, the academic world of the Western civilization, so to speak, and to find a university, right, that suits you perfectly. Very often I know stories that people kind of come to a educational advising center agency and they are offered like 3 choices. And they pick up one and then go and study there for 1 year, 2 years, and then all of a sudden they see that it was not like the best choice. They understand that their best choice would be a different university, but they learn about that when it's too late, when they already invested a lot of efforts, money, time. So that is why it's good kind of to be able to find and look for any university, not just the ones that came here to Moldova and are here today. So we can teach, we can help you how to do that. So step number 2, preparing an application. Very often you can go to a university's website and you can see a list of required documents like transcripts, diplomas, letters of motivation, and then letters of recommendation. Sometimes it's kind of clearly, outlined. Sometimes it can be a little bit confusing. But what does it mean, letters of recommendation? What kind of letters should be those? What should I write in my application essay? So we've seen hundreds, thousands of application essays that are like, clones of each other, the same. People kind of Google something online, they just see something, they copy, paste, create something similar. So these are not effective application essays. So you cannot get accepted with that kind of essays. So you need to structure them differently. You need to be able not just to speak English, but to use academic English, so that you can shape your essays in such a way that people there understand, well, this is a smart guy, this is a smart girl, so we want her. It's not just one out of thousands. You need to be able to stand out of crowd. We can teach you how to do that. Step 3, so many, probably you already know about TOEFL and IELTS tests. So everybody who comes to our center, so they know probably about TOEFL, right? TOEFL test. This is how they check your knowledge of English. So this is a standardized test. So they want to know if your English is good enough, and you need to get a certain score. It can range like from 60, right, to 110 probably, depending on the program. The more prestigious the program is, the higher should be the score. So if it is some business schools, like it's around 60, right? 60, 70 business schools, so there are no high demands, no high requirements, nothing. Here you can see other tests as well, SAT, GRE. These are different kind of tests. These are different tests from TOEFL. So they do not test your knowledge of English, they test your other abilities, like critical thinking, if you are smart enough, if you can think logically, if you can do math well, so in general kind of, if you are a smart person in general, so to speak. So we can introduce you to these tests and help you to get prepared for those as well. So interview, not every program requires an interview, but some of them do. And one thing is just to have a look at your application materials and having a cup of coffee and writing your application material. So that's one thing. And another thing is just to talk to people from that university. Then all of a sudden, so you get a little bit stressed, and then you cannot speak clearly. So you need to go through mock interviews, like when we simulate interviews, like when you talk to someone who listens to you, helps you to shape all your answers, fix them, just find the best way to answer. So we can do that as well. So this is step 4. Step 5, funding. So it's about money. So it's about money. So now we know that in some European countries, so education is free, yes, but in some it is not. And definitely it is not free in the US and in the UK. So if you want to apply to most English-speaking universities, you have to pay.
How much?
It depends, like from $20,000. Sometimes it can be like in Europe, and it can be like $14,000 per academic year. And altogether you have like 4 years, right? It's about $60,000. And it can be like up to $60,000 per academic year, which totals to 200,050, right? Something about, yeah. And if you want to go to a medical school, that's even more. But there is a lot of money, a lot of sponsoring organizations, and a lot of universities that are willing to give you the money to study. They are willing to cover all your expenses so that you go there and study there for free. They even are willing to pay you a stipend. They not only cover your tuition and fees, the money you pay for your education, but they also give you money to live, a stipend, right? So, but you need to know where to look for those opportunities. Sometimes you go to a university's website and it says financial aid. So this is one thing. But very often there are sponsoring organizations that are not connected to any university at all, but they offer money to any university. They say, well, you are a lady, a woman coming from Moldova, okay, so women have been underrepresented in a way that we are in a disadvantaged position. So now we are willing to give to women from developing countries money to study at any American or British university. So you cannot find this information on the university's website, but you need to know where to look for these scholarships. Because once you apply for those scholarships, you all of a sudden have money. They give you money to pay for everything, to cover all your expenses. We can teach you where to look for these scholarships, for this money, and how to apply. Because a lot of people are applying for these scholarships. Your application should be competitive, right? And once you've been accepted, and can we go a little bit up? Yes, once you've been accepted, you go there, so you are happy, everybody is happy, your family is happy. You start your academic year, and we've seen a lot of such stories, right? People go there in 3 months, they are kind of stressed, overwhelmed. Why? Because, to get there, so you need to know English. So people can speak general English, but academic English is a totally different thing, so it's a different beast. So if you do not know how to use academic English, how to structure your essays, you won't be able to be successful. You would write something, your teachers read it, do not understand the word, cross this out, you get low grades. And then you have to rewrite, write again. You need, unlike Moldovan system, in the West, you need to write a lot, okay? So, and they would ask you to write like 15 pages on these economics, 10 pages psychology, writing. And we've been preparing people for TOEFL examination, TOEFL. And there you need to write like, how many, 300 words essay? Write 300 words. And people struggle, but they can write 300 words. But when you need to write 5,000, like 10 pages, 15 pages, people kind of write 2 pages and they don't know what to do next. You need to learn how to do that. We do not have that in Moldova at all. Students, school students, pupils back in the United States, in the UK, they learn how to do that very often at school. Well, they get a lot of similar assignments, some of them do, some of them don't, but in general people learn that, When you go there, it's your first year, you don't know how to do that, all of a sudden you get like assignment 5 essays. To write 5, and you're kind of looking at all these things and you don't know where to start. We can teach you how to do that. Okay, now I would like to give the floor to Vladimir.
Okay.
our first scholarship winner.
Yeah, okay, so now it's the second part. We're going to tell you about stories. 4 stories by 4 people about their experience.
Do you have any by any chance?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about what I've just said? No. Okay, so that was. Oh.
I would like to ask something. Do you have any responsibility towards the partner after you get the money?
I mean, you.
Yes, I mean the students.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Once you get the money, yes, there are some. You need to study well. You need to have a certain, GPA, certain grades. You don't just.
You don't need to pay back.
You don't need. No. Yeah. I mean, normally, if you very often, most of the scholarships, yeah, you just get them. You just study well, and you do not have any. You do not have to pay them back.
Now look how it happens. Imagine that there was a very rich man living somewhere in UK, and he had fields with sheep, and he made a lot of money, and then he became old. He was like, oh, I lived all my life to myself, and then he dies, and he gives the money to
Like a
Cambridge
couple of
University.
$1 million to certain university, and all of a sudden they have this money to give away to students from different countries.
Recently, Bill Gates gave $250 million to Cambridge University. And at Cambridge University, we have Bill Gates scholarship. So anybody can apply. Even people from Moldova.
As long as they have this money, they will be giving away this money. Once there is no money, somebody else gives money to the university. Another rich person can, foundation. But sometimes if it is a government, for example, Norwegian government also they give away scholarships, but then they say if you do not keep up to certain, like if you don't study well or something, they may ask you to leave, right? So there are some requirements.
Or Marina will tell you later if it's
Yeah.
government sponsored.
Yeah, so we will come back to that.
Okay, so now my